You ever felt your hands move but your heart already give up? Like your body carries on, a speech, a meeting, a confrontation. But something inside you has quietly cracked. If you're watching this, you've already met that moment. You felt a chill when someone looked at you in a way that made your voice thin. That chill is not accident, it's a weapon. And today we're going to look at the cold, surgical logic behind it. How battles are decided inside the mind long before feet touch ground. Machiavelli's cruelest lesson isn't about swords or laws. It's about what happens when you make someone doubt themselves. You don't have to break their arm, break their certainty. Because a man who doubts himself is already fighting a ghost you put in his head. His hands might still move, but his center has been stolen. That, more than any shout or insult, becomes the decisive victory. This isn't showmanship, it's architecture. The golden rule is simple and poisonous. You don't need to be strong. You only need to appear so. The world judges the rumor of strength quicker than it ever tests the body. Before anyone challenges you at work, in a debate, or in love, you must have already built a myth, an image so vivid that others measure themselves against it, not against you. That image is posture, not proof. Posture tells people you've won somewhere else, and assumption kills confidence silently. So how do you build that myth? Start by composing your presence. When others flail, remain calm. Speak less but with weight. Move like someone who expects control. You don't need trophies in view, just the cadence of someone who has them. People will invent your victories for you because humans are lazy about truth. They prefer a story that makes sense. And once the story becomes common, the person trying to challenge you shrinks into it. But you don't always have to roar. Often the softest things are knives. Don't call someone weak. Don't directly insult. Instead imply. Say, "You remind me of someone I beat once." Or, "This will be interesting. I don't get challenged often." These are smiles with daggers hidden in them. No one wants to point out the dagger points back at them. The opponent will never name what's wrong, but they'll feel it, and feeling it starts a quiet unraveling. Every competitor carries a private ache, an insecurity, a mistake, a shame. If you see it, you don't expose it with force. You suggest. Suggestion insinuates. It turns focus inward. Tell an insecure opponent, "You've got guts." It sounds like praise, but it makes them search their memory for when they weren't gutsy enough. You've just turned their identity into a problem to be proven. And while they prove, they stop winning. Power is rarely a straight fist fight. It's a contest of perception. Before the challenger ever faces you, there are eyes in the room. Peers, judges, onlookers. Your job is to win those eyes first. When people already respect you, your competitor enters the space smaller, self-conscious, like an intruder. Adopt a subtle charm toward the crowd, a dry joke, a concise statement that frames you as the one with history. Then acknowledge your rival as an eager child. "They've got spirit," or "Let's see how this goes." You aren't mocking, you're infantilizing. The audience adopts your tone unconsciously. Your rival looks around for rescue and finds quiet distance. Silence is one of the cruelest tools. Let your wins happen without explanation. Say less, make others fill the gap. People fear emptiness because the mind projects its worst fears into it. That blankness becomes a mirror where the competitor sees their worst possible self. When they try to respond, hold eye contact a beat too long. Stay still. Don't blink like you're nervous. If they break, the room follows and you've turned their composure into a spectacle. Here's the uncomfortable truth: you rarely have to overpower someone to win. If you can make them pause, introduce the smallest doubt, you don't have to be stronger. You only need to be the seed of a question. Am I really ready? Am I actually as skilled as I think? Ask that question with a smile and curiosity, not threat. Curiosity corrodes certainty, and certainty is the living thing we pretend is armor. Without it, even trained people become careful and hollow. This isn't random cruelty, it's strategy, it's surgical. Notice the small human ways you break someone's flow. Point out a quirk. You have a unique way of speaking. Or, that posture is interesting. These aren't accusations, they are surgical reminders that you are watching, that you noticed. Suddenly, the performer is an actor trying to be natural. Their fluidity collapses into self-consciousness, and when someone is in their head, they stop being present. Compare them subtly to someone greater. This reminds me of X. They were on another level. You've improved since I last saw you. These lines act like mirrors with wrong reflections. Not quite them, not quite the hero they imagined. They become a replacement, a watered-down version of someone else. The mind loses its protagonist and starts defending the comparison instead of acting. Preparation is another toxin. If you imply you are far more dangerous than you seem, you probably did your homework on me, or I've done this a few too many times. You make them over-prepare. Over-preparation breeds rigidity. They rehearse, they anticipate, and they lose the spontaneity that wins fights. Psychological suffocation looks like a competitor who arrives exhausted, having chased an imagined monster that never showed up. You warned them about the storm. Now they spend the match repairing their umbrella. Compliments can weaponize too. Ambiguous, well-timed, and slightly condescending. You're better than I expected, or this might actually be close. Sounds encouraging, but it's a prescription for self-doubt. If I expected less, then what am I to them? You've just positioned yourself as the standard. The competitor begins chasing your approval instead of claiming the field. That chase eats the momentum until nothing remains. The circle around a person is their fuel. If you infect that circle with quiet doubt, you starve the performer. Don't convert friends into enemies, make the friends unsure. Praise their people, ask soft, leading questions about choices, imply contingency. They've got sharp people around them, they'll need that. Now the friends glance sideways, support turns into caregiving. A leader becomes a project. When your rival's circle stops radiating confidence, their last line of defense dissolves. And never ever elevate your opponent by declaring them a rival. If you call someone a competitor, you give them equals. The real power is to act as if they are operating on a different plane. Indifferent, unaffected. This is the coldest knife, treating them as irrelevant. It's not a physical strike, it fractures identity. If the world doesn't respond to your threat, you begin to wonder whether you have any claim to power at all. Machiavelli's masters understood. The grand strategy is erosion, not collision. You don't beat someone, you rearrange the battlefield so that when they arrive, they are already outmatched. True power is disorienting. It turns the stage into a hall of mirrors where the competitor can't find the exit. There are more subtle weapons, the ones that work by absence. If everyone expects you to react and you don't, you scream that nothing is at stake for you. No flinch, no anger, no urgency. Observe calmly, speak rarely, act like victory is habit, not pursuit. That indifference is louder than any shout because it suggests you're already past the finish line. If you're not trying, why are they still struggling? Be unpredictable. Most people succeed when they can model you, when your moves fit a pattern. Switch tone mid-conversation. Move between charm and cold precision. Confuse their map of you. If they can't name you, they can't prepare fully. Be multipolar, silent then piercing, gentle then sharp. When the opponent can't predict, their planning becomes a trap. Control the room. Dominate conversation until they have no opening. Redirect focus away from them in moments that matter. Talk about them instead of to them. Treat them like a vignette in your tale, not the protagonist. Over time, others mirror your frame. People follow confidence. And if you treat the competitor as a lesser concern, the world will too. They enter the arena alone, even if it's crowded. Momentum builds from small victories. A laugh, a clever point, a nod. Your job is to stop the accumulation of those small wins. When they say something clever, nod, but don't reward it. When they joke, parry with something darker and more focused. When they score, change the subject with disinterest. Interrupt their rhythm until their confidence loses its scaffolding. Without momentum, even talent becomes tentative. Attack their story. Competitors carry narratives. I'm the upstart, I'm the expert, I'm the fresh wave. Reframe these as liabilities. Boldness is good, but it can cost clarity. New faces are exciting. We'll see if the echo lasts. You cast them as temporary, accidental, or reckless. If they start seeing themselves as passing, they behave like a guest, not an owner. Legacy feeds courage. By suggesting they aren't part of the long game, you starve that courage. Group manipulation is surgical. When they falter, do nothing obvious. Stay silent, hold eye contact, raise an eyebrow. The room will follow. Awkward laughter will appear, and suddenly the speaker is being judged by a chorus they didn't expect. You didn't ridicule, you merely framed the mistake and let social instincts do the rest. Embarrassment spreads like a stain, it eats certainty. The crunch moment is revealing. Most people, when pressured, speed up and explain. They lunge. You remain still. Your lack of panic becomes proof of control. Even if you don't have the upper hand, perform like you do. The audience and the person themselves will mirror that composure. This is the Machiavellian paradox. Control belief and behavior follows. Make someone believe they are inferior and their actions will fall in line. Remember the image that stuck with you earlier. Glass painted gold. Confidence sparkles, but it's fragile. Hit the right point once with the right suggestion, the correct silence, a precise compliment, and it doesn't just chip, it collapses. The ultimate victory is invisible. They smile, they perform, but their hands shake. Decisions wobble, pauses arrive where there used to be blades. You didn't touch them, you turned their inner jury against them. Finally, delicate doubt. The cleverest move is not to whisper the knife yourself, but to plant it through others. A casual remark from someone in the room, a rumor, a friendly question. I heard they were over-preparing. Any truth to that? Creates social paranoia. If they can't locate the source of doubt, they assume it's everywhere. Uncertainty becomes ambient. Before someone steps into the spotlight, already write their story for them. Make it slightly humiliating and watch them fight your version. They've got enthusiasm. Let's see if it lasts. Unproven but bold. You praise with blades. You make the crowd an accomplice. The opponent isn't fighting just you anymore. They are fighting a narrative and an audience that's already primed to see them as temporary. Here's the last bone-cold truth. The most effective power makes the opponent feel like a guest in their own life. Once you make someone feel temporary, they behave tentatively. They win a moment but carry a hollow victory. The knowledge that they still have to prove themselves to a world you framed. That hollow is corrosive. So what do you do when you wake up and realize you're both the saboteur and the sabotaged? You choose. You can build the myth that protects you, learn to hold silence like armor, and frame rooms so others shrink. Or you can practice refusing to be shrunk. To carry a quiet center that no one's implication can unseat. Philosophy tells us this is a moral problem as much as a tactical one. Nietzsche shows us the will to power. Plato reminds us of the shadows we mistake for truth. Bonhoeffer would warn about the character cost of making others less human. Power without conscience corrodes the holder. Power with awareness becomes a tool, not to crush, but to preserve a world where we're not constantly trading identity for survival. Remember that when you decide which weapons to keep and which to throw away. The war ends before it begins when one choice is made, to attack the act or to attack the belief. The former is brutal and obvious, the latter is quiet and final. If you aim to master the world of influence, learn how belief is built. If you aim to survive it, build a belief that no whisper can erode. Either way, know this. When someone questions themselves in your presence, the fight is already lost. And that is a responsibility and a danger we can't afford to ignore. One last set of closing tools ensures they doubt everything, even their own promise. People trust friends and foes, but they especially trust those who seem neutral. There lies your clever move. You don't always deliver the knife. Sometimes you make someone else whisper it. Plant a thought in a colleague's ear. Let a half-line float into the room. I heard someone say they were over-preparing. Is there truth to it? Suddenly, the opponent looks around. They cannot see who doubts them. That uncertainty becomes a final blow. If they cannot find the source of the threat, they think it is everywhere. Do not let them write their own story. Write it for them and make it slightly shameful. He has a lot of enthusiasm. Let's see if that turns into substance. Or she's bold but untested. That reminds me of someone who lacked control under pressure. You did not insult. You praised with a knife under the rose. Now the crowd has expectations. More importantly, your opponent must fight your story, not the moment. They stop aiming for excellence and start aiming to fix the image. That is reaction, not strength. Reaction is always thin. Self-belief lasts when people picture themselves as a steady presence, a long-term force. Machiavelli's next move is to make them feel like a passing trend. Say things like, people come and go. Let's see how long this wave lasts. Or, they're making noise now. We'll see if it still echoes next year. Or, fresh faces are nice. Rotation keeps things moving. This is subtle and cruel. If you make someone feel temporary, they act careful. Even if they win in the moment, they will carry a hollow ache because you have cut the future from them. Legacy feeds long-term self-belief. Take that away and you take their long game. Whoever taught these moves learned them by being hurt by them. The people who apply quiet domination most often know what it is to be made small. That is the twist that hurts the most. The hand that pushes others down is often the same hand that was pushed. Power without care makes people sharp and lonely. It builds winners who lose the warmth that makes life worth winning. The final hard idea to carry is this: learn these moves to protect yourself, not to hollow others. Know them so you can see them. Name them so they stop having power over you. Keep a list in your head of small wins you have had. Keep a rhythm that is yours. Have people who remember you when your mind gets noisy. If a whisper can make you small, then you must make your inner voice louder. Keep a private ledger of moments when you showed up and did the thing. When a smooth comment tries to edit your story, say to yourself, that is a suggestion, not a sentence. That naming strips power. Hold to your rhythm, not to who nods. Call on witnesses who know your work, and when you lead, combine strength with care, because the same quiet that breaks someone can also break you. Power that costs your soul is a price you may not want to pay. So when they try to plant the first doubt, decide, will you let someone else write your story, or will you be the author? If the fight can be decided in your head, start the fight there for yourself. Reclaim your small wins. Name the moves, keep your pace. Build people who reflect your truth. Be the one who offers steadiness instead of fear. In a world where so many try to cut others down, the most radical move is to stay whole. So the question is, who will you be when the whisper starts? A reflection of their myth, or the author of your own?